What made Elvis Presley so handsome? Did you know that Elvis was blonde and that he dyed his hair? Did Elvis have cosmetic procedures? Welcome to Zahir Beauty. Today, we're going to analyze the beauty of Elvis Presley's face and find out what made him so attractive. First of all, we must consider that a person's face can vary in photos according to lighting, angle, lens type and image retouching. Most of Elvis' photos are black and white, grainy and low resolution. I'm going to use a lot of the photos from when he served in the army, as that moment was the peak of his youth and attractiveness. The singer was born on January 8, 1935 and died on August 16, 1977 at the age of 42. He was 5 feet 11 3/4 inches tall. He served in the Army from 1958 to 1959, at the time he was 23 years old. Elvis Presley's face shape is oblong. The oblong face is a variation of the oval face, with the difference that it is longer than the oval face. Elvis' face has smooth, rounded contours. And as he aged, his face became more defined. The face thirds are roughly equivalent in size, with the lower third being slightly larger in height. Let's take a look at Elvis Presley's eyes. The eye region is very important for the male face. In men, the most appreciated eye shapes are almond-shaped or hooded eyes. Other eye shapes rely on a strong jaw and a well-balanced mid-face to look good. Elvis had some controversial features in his eyes and I'll explain them next. His eyes were vertically narrow and horizontally long. The height-to-length ratio is 1 to 2.7. His eyes had a downturned shape. This is because Elvis Presley had a very negative canthal tilt. The line from the inner corner to the outer corner of the eye forms a negative angle of 6.8 degrees. This characteristic diminishes some of his attractiveness. In men, both neutral and positive canthal tilt are perceived as attractive. But Elvis isn't the only one with this facial feature. Actors like Timothée Chalamet and Jacob Elordi also have eyes like this. And note that they have strong attributes like a well-defined jaw to compensate for this unfavorable trait. Elvis' interpupillary distance is 46% of the face width, which is aesthetically very appealing. On the other hand, the interocular spacing is approximately 1.2 times the width of the eye. Ideally, this distance should be the same measure as an eye. The positive traits about Elvis were his deep-set eyes and compact eye sockets. It gave him a deep, masculine look. And he had minimal upper eyelid exposure. His sclera was white with no scleral exposure. Notice how the lower eyelid passes the edge of the iris. This is perceived as attractive and as an indicator of health. Elvis had blue eyes. And blue eyes are a bonus for attractiveness. Another striking feature was the downward-pointing shape of the medial commissure of the eye. His eyebrows were full and formed a discreetly arched curve. His eyebrows had a neutral tilt. The distance between the eyebrows and the eyes was moderate. In men, the shorter this distance, the more desirable. And the brow ridge was prominent but smooth. The nasofrontal angle is 131 degrees, very masculine. The reference value for men is 130 degrees. And there was no frontal bossing. A prominent brow ridge is a feature of male dimorphism. What can we say about his jaw? The jaw is of great importance for the male face. In men, wide jaws are more appreciated. Narrower jaws detract from male attractiveness unless the midface and eye area is very well developed and attractive. As Elvis Presley has aged, his face has become more defined and the contour of his jaw sharper. The width of his jaw is 85% of the bizygomatic width. In men, values between 90% and 100% are perceived as more attractive. As a young man, he had tight hyoid skin. The chin to philtrum length ratio is approximately 2.7, which is a very masculine ratio. A chin larger than that gives it an ogre-like appearance. The thirds of the mandible were more or less equivalent to each other, with the chin region being a little wider. He had a round, prominent chin. And Elvis Presley also had his jaw projected forward, which brings a more masculine look. Note, in this image, how the mandible passes through the dashed line, which is desirable. The mandible should at least line up with the nasal bridge or, preferably, extend beyond it. His jaw forms an angle of approximately 18 degrees from the horizontal level. And the straight contour of the jaw is also notable. The gonion, which is this region indicated in the photo, lines up to a point at the bottom of the mouth. The angle of the gonion, which is the angle formed between the body of the mandible and the ramus, is 115 degrees. This is a very attractive and masculine angle, and the ramus of the jaw has a long length. Men tend to have a more acute angle of the gonion, a longer ramus, and a larger chin. His lateral profile reveals a facial convexity of 176 degrees, which indicates good dentofacial development. This value is at the upper limit of the normal range, and in part this is due to the projection of the chin. Overall, Elvis Presley had a very harmonious and masculine lower third. Let's now analyze the middle third of the face. Is it true that Elvis had a nose job? He had a compact mid-face with a very interesting 1-to-1 ratio. His cheekbones were moderate and closer to the eye region. As a young man, his cheeks had a smooth but straight contour. In men, straight cheeks are more visually appealing. Hollow cheeks are equally attractive. Elvis Presley had a maxilla with normal projection. Elvis Presley's nostrils were slanted well, neither up nor down. This is measured by the nasolabial angle. In his case, the angle is 89 degrees, a normal value for men. He had a straight, well-proportioned nose. The height of the nose is 1.5 times its width, which is a great proportion. The ratio of face width to nose width is 3.6 to 1, which gives the impression that the nose is slightly wide. In general, men tend to have wider noses. And finally, his nose had a slightly flattened appearance. His nose forms a 24-degree angle to his face. This combination of straight nose with an acute nasofacial angle is also called the Greek nose. Elvis had rhinoplasty to reshape his nose and make it slimmer. See the photo comparison between before and after the procedure. This information was confirmed by Billy Smith, cousin of Elvis Presley. The nose is of medium importance for men, and men can still look attractive with a big nose with a slight nasal dorsal hump. What about Elvis Presley's hair? Elvis Presley has always been admired for his hairstyle. He was always very vain. The pompadour was his most used haircut, and he only trusted a single hairdresser. His hair was full with a good hairline. Elvis was naturally blonde. His hair was very blonde as a child and evolved into a light to medium brown as a young man. And he dyed his hair, eyebrows and eyelashes black to contrast with the color of his eyes. At first, he even used shoe polish to look like actors of the time. Other features. He had a lean face. The lower the body fat composition, the more defined the facial features. As a young man, he had small pores in his skin, which gives it a rougher texture. This is normal and expected in men with a beard. He had no scars, blemishes, wrinkles on his forehead or eyes, let alone nasolabial folds. He had firm skin under his eyes, with no signs of eye bags. Overall, he had healthy-looking skin. His mouth was small. The width of the mouth is 1.09 times the width of the nose. Ideally, the labial commissures should line up with the inner edge of the iris. His lips were full, and the cupid's bow was well defined. His teeth were white, straight and without gaps. He had normal-sized ears with good shape, and they were parallel and close to his head. His face is almost symmetrical. See how the inclination of the jaw is almost parallel to the line connecting the lateral corner of the eyes and the alar base of the nose. The ratio between the height and width of the face is 1.4, very proportional. The forehead height to width ratio is approximately 1:2, which is a great value. The neck to face width ratio is roughly 4:5, a great proportion. It transmits strength and high testosterone. Let's get to the final thoughts. In summary, we can conclude that Elvis Presley has a proportional, balanced and symmetrical face. His striking points are his well-developed jaw and full hair. The lower third of his face counterbalances the negative canthal tilt of his eyes that greatly disadvantages him. Elvis Presley was and remains much desired and admired to this day. Unfortunately, at the end of his life, he gained weight and became ill because of an undisciplined lifestyle. But let's keep his best memories in our minds. This video was a suggestion by Brave Soul and Nenabanana. What do you think of Elvis Presley's beauty? Comment your opinion here. We're done here now, and see you later.